would like to call to order the March 17th, 2026 meeting of the Colerain Township Zoning Commission. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And top of the evening to those in attendance, township staff, and my fellow commissioners. Just a friendly reminder for everyone present to please silence your devices at this time. Ms. Klein, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser.
Here.
Mr. Wander.
Here.
Mr. Westfall.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Ms. McMullen.
Here. All right, commissioners, presented before you tonight are the meeting minutes from our February 17th, 2026 meeting. Does anyone have any comments or required edits? Okay, seeing none, can we have a motion for approval in a second, please?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
Mr. Wander. Yes. Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. Okay, next we would like to welcome the public to address the Zoning Commission. However, if you are here to speak at any of the public hearings, we will invite you to the podium during the respective hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to the commission? Okay, seeing none. Next up would be final development plans. We have none for this evening, so then that does bring us to the 3 public hearings. First up, we have case CZC-25-18, a text amendment. And Mr. Peters, do you have a presentation?
I do. Okay, CZC-25-18 is a text amendment for Plan District Review and Amendment. This is when somebody applies for a Plan District, like they're doing tonight. This would be the review process and how they can file amendment on that Plan District. The proposed action, we would add a district intent to section 2.2.2E. That's where all the other district intents are. Right now, there isn't one for Plan Districts. And then we would modify section 6.4.3, Plan District Review and Amendment. This would modernize the Plan District framework in the township, clarify the purpose and authority of Plan District zoning, streamline application requirements, expand planning-based review criteria, and establish clearer procedures for modifications and administrative review of approved Plan Districts. The summary, the existing Plan District regulations function primarily as an engineering checklist. There's limited emphasis on planning framework for evaluating integrated development. The current provisions lack clear articulation of purpose of the Plan District, planning-based evaluation criteria, design quality, placemaking, mobility, compatibility. It requires detailed engineering materials at the legislative zoning stage. When you're applying for a zoning certificate, for example, you would need advanced engineering. So that is very cost prohibitive to a lot of our residents and businesses who want to apply for a Plan District. The engineering details more appropriately reviewed at later permitting stages would be saved for those stages. This would align with the goals of the imagined Colerain Comprehensive Plan. And the intent of this is to reorganize Plan District provisions to clearly define the purpose and intent, shift focus from conceptual development planning, streamline submission requirements, expand planning-based review criteria, and clarify modification procedures. So the staff findings are based on the imagined Colerain Comprehensive Plan adopted in 2021. The alignment with the plan, this strengthens the connection to the imagined Colerain Comprehensive Plan and encourages walkability, placemaking, coordinated site design, appropriate land use transitions, and supports high-quality development and corridor reinvestment. For housing and development flexibility, it reinforces the intent of the Plan District zoning, which supports a mixed-use development, innovative site design, diverse housing opportunities, and shifts focus to conceptual planning over detailed engineering. It reduces barriers to creative development proposals as well. As far as economic development and investment goes, it removes unnecessary engineering requirements at the zoning stage and defers technical review to the permitting phase. It reduces upfront costs for applicants significantly. It improves predictability for development proposals and encourages reinvestment and coordinates development. It improves code and clarity organization by reorganizing plan district section for clarity. That clearly distinguishes the application requirements from the review criteria and the modification procedures, the administrative approvals, and it improves the readability and reduces ambiguity. It also enhances usability for applicants and decision makers. And finally, the administrative efficiency and reduced red tape element of this text amendment. It would eliminate redundant submission materials and requirements. It would align review stages with appropriate level of detail, shorten application timelines, reduce resubmittals and staff review burden, and focus early review on site design and compatibility rather than engineering. So for those reasons, staff recommends approval of the proposed text amendment. Ms. McMullen?
Thank you, and can you repeat all that for me? That was a lot. All right, so at this time, we would like to open our public hearing. Can we have a motion and a second to do so, please?
I'll make a motion to open a public hearing for case CZC-25-18.
And can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander. Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. All right. So for the sign-up sheet for this public hearing, no one signed up in advance. I just wanted to check with the audience to see if there's anyone who would wish to speak. Okay, seeing none. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff?
Go ahead.
Or not, but on the zoning resolution, page 29, there's severability and repeal. I think we have a little excess in there at 158%, 35%.
As far as how the resolution will be repealed if there was a petition?
Required signatures.
That is actually the next case.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I didn't know. Which one it was.
Yeah, we can address it there. Basically, if you would like to initiate a text amendment, we can do that. But as far as these two text amendments go, that's not really in the scope of what we wrote them for. So if you'd like to initiate that later, we're able to do that. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for staff? Okay, so we need a motion and a second to close the public hearing, please.
I'll move to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Klein?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. All right, so gentlemen, at this time, is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the text amendment to the zoning resolution as shown in Appendix B for case CZC-25-18.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for approval. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. Okay, the motion carries. Okay, that brings us to zoning case CZC-25-21, a text amendment. And Mr. Peters?
Thank you. CZC 25-21, this is technical corrections, and since we've had multiple of these and anticipate them in the future, I put Q1 of 2026. This is a recommended approval of technical corrections to the zoning resolution. This would correct minor clerical issues, including grammar, punctuation, formatting, and cross-references. It would ensure the published resolution reflects previously adopted amendments in the original legislative attempt, and no substantive regulatory changes are proposed. So basically, the 30,000-foot view, what this is to ensure that everything that we've adopted through the Zoning Commission and Board of Trustees is what's actually in the zoning resolution. Sometimes when things are carried over and formatted different, punctuation's lost, we notice misspellings, that sort of thing. There's nothing in here that's substantive, meaning we didn't take a 5-foot requirement and change it to 10. There's nothing like that. This is just minor changes to make it more readable and more legally enforceable. And if we change something technically, even a punctuation mark, and it was not approved by the trustees, that can be invalidated in court if it ever came to it. So it's important to take the entire zoning resolution periodically and for the trustees to say, this is exactly what we've adopted. So, staff identified minor inconsistencies during routine administration. The discrepancies between the published text and previously adopted amendments were noticed. This addresses issues from incremental amendments over time and ensures published resolution reflects the adopted regulations. There's one additional thing that it does, it introduces summary tables for each zoning district. So these tables will have permitted uses and dimensional standards on them. We didn't have that before. I noticed in a review of Westchester's zoning resolution that they have summary tables that they can hand out to residents who come in and say, what can I do in your SUR zoning district? We can hand them a handout that has the permitted uses and the dimensional standards instead of having to go 2 different places in the zoning resolution. So we did add those to the zoning resolution, but they are not substantive changes because nothing on either of those tables changed. It was all already adopted. So the overall intent is a housekeeping update to improve clarity, accuracy, and usability of the zoning resolution. Staff findings are that the code accuracy and maintenance, that periodic technical changes are necessary, and the improved readability and navigation exist. The addition of the summary tables for permitted uses go to that point. So for those reasons, staff recommends approval of the text amendment. Ms. McMullen?
Thank you. So at this time, we would like to open the public hearing. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
A motion to open a public hearing for CZC-25-21. I'll second.
Okay, Ms. Klein?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. All right, and so for the sign-in, once again, no one signed in advance. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak? Okay, I see none. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff?
Just the one comment that I had.
Yeah.
The only clerical thing I noticed was the requirement to have 158% of people who voted in the previous governor's election.
And it should say 15?
It should say 35%.
35. Okay.
What page was that on?
It's on page 29. Petition initiated repeal. Repeat.
So it seems as though that's a typo. Okay, so we'll go back to what we know was adopted, and we'll see what it said then. And if it was adopted with the 35% you're referencing, then we'll add it. We can add that as a condition, okay, of your approval. So we would, if you feel so moved, you would recommend approval with the condition that section
152
is,
Appeal B.
is amended if incorrect.
I just wouldn't want to be collecting 158%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be difficult.
Might be a little.
Yeah, it would be. Earlier, I thought you were saying that
I think
it was incorrect in the beginning, so, okay,
It's just that,
okay.
the
perfect.
numbers.
Good catch.
Other than that, the only thing I would do is commend the fact that it makes it very easy with the graphs for anybody to understand what's allowed where versus having to read a bunch of legal language, which would be very cumbersome for citizens or prospective businesses.
Thank you, I'm glad, and I'm glad to hear that. Thank you, and I hope so, because people call often and say, what can I do in the NBM district? And it's kind of like, well, what do you want to do? We'll tell you yes or no. But now we can show them a handout that shows you everything you possibly could do, so.
And would you mind repeating what that section number was again?
1.5.2,
Okay.
repeal, section B.
Thank you.
158% should technically read 35%.
Now, if that was adopted that way initially in October of 2024, then it's not considered a typo because that's the way it was adopted, and we'll have to text amendment it. But if it was adopted as 35% and somehow I changed it, then we can fix it as part of this amendment.
All right, any other comments? Okay, can we have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll motion that we close the public hearing for CZC 2521.
Second?
Okay, Ms. Klein?
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wander,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. All right, Mr. Wander, I hope I can bug you to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we adopt section CZC 2521 with allowing the staff to make the correction as needed from 155% to reflect the 35%.
To which section?
To section 1.5.2 repeal, section B.
Okay, thank you.
So your motion is recommending approval of the requested text amendment to zoning resolution as shown in Appendix B with section 1.5.2 being amended if it is incorrect. Correct? Okay, I will second that. And Ms. Klein?
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wander,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. Thank you. And that brings us to zoning case CZC-26-1 and also CZC-26-2, an amendment to the zoning map and an associated preliminary development plan. And Mr. Peters, do you have a presentation?
Yes, I do. Okay, so CZC-26-1 will be the map amendment in this case, and CZC-26-2 will refer to the preliminary development plan and final development plan. We consulted with our legal team, and those can be combined into one, and I'll explain the reason for that at the end. So this case is called Lake Gloria Phase 2. The request is a zoning map amendment from SUR Single Unit Residential Zoning to PD Plan District, and a preliminary and final development plan approval. The applicant is Todd Foley from Redwood, and the location is Pippin Road and Struble Road, just north of that site. We have about 3.5 acres that are being the request for rezone, and a little under 11 acres total for the PDP FDP area. This is part of the existing Lake Gloria / Redwood development. Phase 1 was approved in 2020 and constructed thereafter. It includes a residential development and sidewalk and frontage improvements. Phase 2 is a continuation and expansion of the same development pattern. The future, and I'll explain here. So what we're requesting is a preliminary development plan and final development plan that acts in the interim. And you'll see that a few times in this presentation because a major modification is coming that undertakes the entire development. When they're taking this land and rezoning part of it and changing their PD and building new buildings, they're changing, for example, their impervious surface ratio. They're changing where they have their green space. So all these things are changing about the existing PD. So what we are requesting here is an adoption of the PDP and FDP, and then the big questions will come at a major modification at the Board of Trustee meeting that show how the entire development is going to deal with landscaping, impervious surface ratio, how many square foot they have across all the buildings, how many units, density, things like that. So this question is just the concept of, does the zoning commission recommend approval for buildings to be there on the site as they're shown basically? So it's a little bit different than most PDPs that we see. But the map amendment is only for 2 parcels, and the PDP and FDP are for all the parcels included in the packet. The site context, this is located near Northwest High School. The surrounding uses, to the north we have Redwood Phase 1, which is a PD. The south, east, west, we have single-family residential, and there are limited commercial uses. There's another church across the street that is currently requesting to be changed to a contractor service building. The site includes a church property and vacant land right now. The proposed development will add about 47 new single-story attached dwelling units. The total development across phases 1 and 2 would be 177 units. The key features are there are separate access drives from Pippin Road. There's a sidewalk extension being proposed along the frontage, so the sidewalk would go up to the new area in phase 2. There would be consistent architecture in phase 2 with phase 1, and the landscaping and buffering would be consistent across the property. They would also maintain open space and lake views across the property. So if you turn your attention to the screen, you'll see a basic kind of layout. This is really the big question today is, does the board approve of this conceptual type of layout? So these buildings are off the road in a separate entrance. Right here we have Pippin Road. We do have some residential uses that align this property, but one whole side of the property does face into the Redwood Phase 1. An issue that staff has identified is that Phase 1 and Phase 2 will remain disconnected. So in order to drive from Phase 2 to Phase 1, you would have to get back out on Pippin Road. That's not ideal, and in most properties, there would be an expectation that they would be connected. However, most properties don't have a huge lake right in the middle of them, so we do see some natural hardships. If the lake dried up tomorrow, I'm sure they could do a road and would do a road, but they're not able to do it because I don't think we're building a bridge over the lake. So, but that is one disadvantage that we need to acknowledge. Another question that staff had is as far as overflow parking. If somebody does fill up their driveway with cars, where would additional visitors be expected to park? I think that there's definitely room, but I would like to see the applicant address that question. This I made on paint. It just is to show a little bit of what we're looking at here. So anything that has a yellow background is what we're talking about in the map amendment to rezone. Right now it's a church. We're asking to rezone that from SUR to PD Plan District. And then behind that there is a square property with a very unique tail that leads up to additional swampy green space up to the north. So these parcels are what's being considered phase 2. But only this part you see in the south of the picture would be developed as those homes you see in the previous slide. So the part to the north is going to remain swampy, unusable green space. Phase 1 is everything else inside the square. That's the existing PD that was approved in 2020. As you can see, although they are connected single-family dwellings, it's not very dense because of the lake. This is just a more technical drawing of what you saw before. But I included this because it does show the connection between this property and some adjacent parcels. I know we have some adjacent property owners in the room, so this might be a reference to see kind of where their property boundaries fall. The justification for this amendment, so we have review criteria currently in our zoning resolution, and this just addresses that. So this request is not feasible under conventional zoning. It functions as a coordinated phase development, which requires integrated site design, private internal drives, and open space preservation, and the PD zoning provides that necessary flexibility. Its consistency with the Imagine Colerain Comprehensive Plan. That plan supports neighborhood center concepts like the Lake Gloria area. It encourages housing diversity and context-sensitive development, and it aligns with goals for aging in place and mixed housing options. Those are goals we have throughout the township that are not adequately addressed in most parts of the township, that are addressed in an excellent manner by this applicant in phase 1, and we expect the same in phase 2 if approved. Connectivity, as I mentioned, we're extending the sidewalk network if approved along Pippin Road. This supports pedestrian access and multimodal connectivity. When you're located near a school and neighborhood destinations, it's also very important. As far as the density goes as well, higher density is typically expected around a school. The community benefit, this expands attached single-story housing types to the township. It provides an alternative to single-family homes, and it supports, like I mentioned before, the aging population and a diverse household type, and it's compatible with the surrounding development. And we will see that density in these next upcoming slides. So One could argue certainly that this is more dense than the surrounding properties, and it is. If you just look at the directly adjacent properties, you see that they do have kind of a rural style to them. I think being near Lake Gloria, being in what used to be more rural area of the township, you ended up with bigger lots with larger homes on them. And if you just looked at this area of the houses that directly touch this proposed development, you would definitely see that. But if you zoom out a little bit, you start to see smaller parcel sizes we see over here and north near the school. And if you zoom out just a little bit more, you can see that density already exists in this area, high density. So it's kind of out of character to have larger lots, in fact. It wouldn't really be out of character to have higher density, because if you look up at Lincoln, Roosevelt, Grant, these are areas that have extremely small lot sizes, sometimes too small. And if you look down to the south, you'll see other streets like Paprika and Siena where they have similar style lot sizes. And if you go a little bit further south, you get to Northbrook. So the expectation that this area has low density, I don't really see that in the map. So design and compatibility, this continues to establish phase one character. The applicant has stated that there will be consistent architecture and landscaping across the development, and this preserves the open space around Lake Gloria and the visual connection to the lake. Here's an example of some of the landscaping that the applicant provided in their landscape plan, and it also shows the sign, which will be similar in character to the existing sign. So a few key considerations. This is a logical extension of an existing development, not a standalone rezoning. This maintains a unified development pattern with phase one and coordinated site design. And keep in mind, this is an interim FDP. This is not really a final approval. Staff findings, it's consistent with the comprehensive plan. It supports housing diversity and reinvestment, enhances pedestrian infrastructure, maintains compatibility with surrounding area, and is an appropriate use of the plan district zoning. For those reasons, staff recommends approval of the proposed map amendment, preliminary development plan, and final development plan with the following four conditions. And I'm gonna need some water. Okay, the first two are dealing with the interim thing. They're dealing with the fact that this is not a final approval. So we're not saying you're good to go build your buildings. So number one is stating that they have to go to every appropriate agency to have things like their site drainage, downspouts, storm sewers. They need to get approval from MSD and OEPA. Those are things that are currently in our zoning resolution as our requirements, but that we don't actually review. Hence the text amendment we just did. So we are saying with condition one that the site work that is out of our review needs to be done by the appropriate agency. With number two, this is saying the approval of this case is conditioned upon the submission of major modification to CZC 20-7 Lake Gloria that'll incorporate phase two into a single unified plan district. So if they do not do that major modification, if they're not approved for that major modification, if they don't follow the conditions of that major modification, they cannot do this, even though an FDP and map amendment have been adopted. So that's what phase two is saying. That's the stopgap to say you actually have to follow through with that major modification. Through that, we'll need a master parking plan, a lighting plan, and master signage plan. Condition three, the architectural style, materials, and general character of phase two buildings shall be consistent with the buildings constructed in phase one. And condition four, all signage through phases 1 and 2 of the development shall remain thematically consistent. Ms. McMullen?
Thank you. So at this time, we would like to open our public hearing. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
I'll motion to open a public hearing for CZC-26-1 and CZC-26-2.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. And Mr. Peters, is the applicant present?
The applicant is present.
Okay. Would you like to come to the podium, please? And for the record, please state your name and address.
Good evening, folks. My name's Gregory Funk.
Is the, Is it turned on?
Can you hear it? It's on.
It is on? Okay, thank you. Okay.
Must be.
Oh, okay, thank you. Go ahead.
My name's Gregory Thurman, VP of Acquisition for Redwood Living. My address is 20 Village Square, 45246. We've been working on this plan for months with staff, and we feel like we have a nice proposal to take advantage of a couple of parcels that are eminently going to come to market, the church and its house and garage that sits on that property. So we developed a nice relationship 6 years ago when we first proposed the phase one part of our project here, and we had the acreage behind the church that was theoretically landlocked. Now with the church property that has frontage and allows for a development opportunity. We are very successful with our operations in phase one with our Redwood product. I just did a report today. I think there's 129 rentable units. We're at 125 full, 97% full. Average rent's $2,100 plus or minus. But we're looking to expand a little bit. We have the acreage to do that, and the market study shows that there's plenty of demand for this product. We are a senior-oriented, single-story design, and we're proving that the grandmas and grandpas in this area enjoy living here. I'll be around for questions. We support staff's recommendation. We're happy to be neighbors here in Colerain Township.
Hey, if you wouldn't mind staying there for a second. Gentlemen, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I do, Mr. Thurman, the property in between there, that you do not own that property?
That's correct. That was previously owned by the church. During COVID, that was renovated and became, it was going to be a rental unit, but subsequently sold. So I've met that neighbor and have had conversations with him while we were building our phase one.
Has there been any discussion with that neighbor about a good faith extending your sidewalk so they connect on the front of the property?
No, but if it's in the right of way, there's a right entitlement to do that. So there should be an effort to do that, because that would be immensely beneficial for that strip of Pippin Road.
And is that something that you would be willing to take on?
The negotiation for that?
No, the putting the sidewalk across that frontage?
The cost?
Yeah, I don't see that being a huge problem, but this is only a 47-unit phase, so I don't have the same funds I would for 130 units.
I understand.
Yeah.
So the answer to that question is
If you make that conditional, I will not argue it.
thank you.
Have you had any discussions with MSD in regards to upflows and downflows and connecting to the existing?
We've not. There's no reason to do that until we have zoning in place, but when we did phase one, there was no issue with capacity at that time. In fact, some corrections were made downstream that we found during our engineering phase. So if anything, it's improved. But that's part of the final development plan with engineering and everything.
But the access is already there.
Yeah, there's sewers on Pippin Road there. The church is already connected to a sewer, although that's a lateral, not a main.
And can you shift to the two properties that are south of this?
Like this?
Yes, please.
I can find them in a better picture, or is this good enough?
No, that's good enough.
Okay.
So the house that is directly adjacent to it, I see that there's some landscaping that's going in. I don't know if that would be sufficient enough to provide some privacy for the family that lives there. I will probably be making a condition to add a privacy fence on that.
We, if we're fortunate to move forward, we will do an Alta survey and determine where that property line is and what an appropriate buffer would be. We were successful on phase one to work with the neighbor to our north for a very similar situation.
And I can't remember, is there a privacy fence or
They
just?
did not want one.
They did not want
They
one?
wanted it regraded, which we agreed to do, and then planted landscaping there.
Yes.
One other question. You said there's 47 units in this phase?
Correct.
Can you tell me, are they 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom?
There are
What-
a variation of 1, 2, and 3.
Can you tell me what the numbers are?
I think I can. I don't have that breakdown, but I can look at it and almost determine that. I think there's about 10%, so 4 or 5 one-bedroom units. We're trying to grab another market that's slightly more affordable, and there'd be about 10% 3-bedroom units. So 5 of them, 5 singles and 5 triples, and the rest of them would be our 2-story product.
You say that again, your 2-story product?
I'm sorry, our 2-bedroom product.
2-bedroom, okay.
We don't build
I was
Yep,
a little confused there for a minute.
excellent. Always want to throw in something controversial.
So you're looking at 5 singles, 5 doubles, and the rest would be, is that
No.
correct?
5 singles and 5 triples, and then the rest would be 2 bedrooms.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, 10% of high and low, and then the rest of them will be our base product.
So you're looking at 5, 5, and what,
37?
37?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So question about phase one. I remember a discussion about a gazebo.
That's correct.
Is that still in the plans for phase one, or
That
what
is
happened with
not-
that?
That was an agreement we made with the staff at the time that we were being so severely vandalized prior to construction and during construction that we decided at the time to anchor 2 park benches there on a patio.
So no plans at this point, now that you're not being vandalized?
It can be part of a condition. There's no supervision on that parcel. It has public access. It's meant to be an overlook for the lake, which is very pretty, by the way. I have breakfast there every Monday morning. But anyway, we decided it was better to not have a vandalizing opportunity that was unsupervised.
Okay.
Speaking of the lake, does your company currently maintain the lake? And
Yes, we own the entirety of the lake, correct, around it and the lake itself.
Any other questions for staff? I'm sorry, for the applicant? Okay, if you can have a seat, and if anyone has questions, we'll call you back up. So we did have one sign in advance. Okay, that's fine. No worries. Jess? Okay, if you would like to approach. And for the record, if you could state your name and address, please.
Jess Parrott, 2926 Struble Road.
Okay, go right ahead, please.
Okay. I think we have grave concerns about this addition to the development, my wife and I. The proposed development would introduce additional traffic on Pippin Road, a 2-lane roadway that is currently functions as a heavily traveled north-south arterial route. Existing traffic volumes are already significant, including heavy garbage trucks on the way to the landfill. A dense apartment complex is located to the south along Pippin Road, and the Redwood rental development is situated to the north. both of which utilize Pippin Road ingress and egress. In addition, traffic associated with Northwest High School enters Pippin Road north of the Redwood development. These combined uses already result in congestion and periodic traffic backups. The introduction of additional vehicle trips, particularly from the driveway proposed access two-lane roadway at or near a blind hill, raises legitimate safety concerns. Given the current traffic conditions, further intensification of access points does not appear to be prudent or consistent with sound traffic planning principles. The neighborhood density and character, we're concerned about that. The surrounding area is characterized primarily as single-family residential neighborhood, despite the presence of an apartment complex to the south and Redwood development to the north along Pippin Road. Approval of Phase 2 would significantly increase residential density within a relatively small geographic area. Such concentration of multifamily development risks altering the established character of the neighborhood and may be inconsistent with the intent of the existing zoning designations, which is single family, I believe. Careful consideration should be given to whether the scale and density of the proposed expansion are compatible with the surrounding single-family community. My last point, though, land configuration and density calculations. It appears that the parcels used to calculate allowable density have been combined in a manner that warrants closer scrutiny. The two principal land masses are connected only by a narrow serpentine strip of lakeshore. The western parcel does not appear to have a functional or practical relationship to the land fronting Pippin Road. Treating these physically distinct areas as a single unified property for purposes of density and calculation may not reflect the practical realities of the site. The configuration raises concerns that the consolidation may have been undertaken primarily to maximize allowable density in a manner that could circumvent the spirit, if not the letter, of the zoning restrictions. Given the above concerns, we think it is not advisable to change the zoning restrictions of the property on Pippin Road. The increased loading in the area would be to the detriment of existing citizens and will not be compensated for by the increase in property taxes. Further, we believe it will cost the township additional operating funds. We believe it will adversely change the character of the existing neighborhood. Thank you.
I have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
In relationship to the map, where's your residence? In relationship to proposed unit? So you're next to the back end of the phase?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Sorry,
You're at
the back of one of the buildings would face one side of his property.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
and then, in regards to the safety, that's always the primary thing, and what we're deciding tonight is whether they can go through and spend a lot of money to even think about adopting. But with the current zoning use, how many acres is the property?
I have to go to pull that back up. What we currently have for the phase 1 is 40 acres. This is going to add a little less than 11.
This is 11 acres.
A little less, yeah.
And utilize,
That's incorrect. The existing acreage, 40, we're adding 3.5 acres.
This came from your plans. This is a screenshot from your plans that I'm reading.
Lot was reconfigured in 2 parcels. That's not,
Okay.
most of that 10 acres is already in the.
So the acreage to rezone is 3.5 acres.
Correct.
That's the rezoning portion.
The 10 acres goes all the way
PDP portion's different. Is the entire site 51.63 acres? Okay. So,
In theory, if the proposal was for single-family homes, at the minimum requirement, how many homes can fit on that property?
what is it, 8,500 square feet in the SUR? 7,500? 43,560 divided by 7,500. That's what, 5 per acre? So, is that right? I'm doing math on the fly. Didn't expect that. So if we're looking at 10 acres as part of this FDP, as a total FDP, then that would be about 50 units. If there was single-family dwellings.
So you could have 50 single-family homes there, or you can have 47 rental units that are spread out.
Yeah, but that,
I just wanted to make, my point is what, I think I would say that at some point in time, the area is going to get developed, because it's not going to sit there,
That's fine.
I'll call it naked and plain. I would love for Lake Glory to still be there and be playing the par 3 golf course that I played
Yes.
as a kid, but unfortunately, that's been long gone. But I would say that, you know, maybe we want to look at what we can control versus what we can't control. And that's how I would look at it. I don't know that I'd want 50 single-family homes on that small parcel.
If I may?
Yeah.
In all likelihood, it wouldn't be 50. That is the minimum lot size. More traditionally in that neighborhood, like mine is an acre, but there are many homes in there that are a third of an acre. So the number is much lower in practicality than the one that is possible.
Yeah,
okay?
let me say as well, like, if we do the rough math, yeah, but about 30% needs to go to roads and right-of-way. So 70% of 50, that's math I'm not doing.
So it's not actually 50. It's
It's close,
probably
though.
more,
It's negligible.
you know, a much smaller number. And if you look at their plan, it's much more dense as far as the housing adjacency to one another than the development across the lake. These are much tighter in space. There's 100 and, or if you look at the original phase 1, you'll see much larger spaces between the buildings than are appearing here.
I'm just looking at it on the broader picture. I just want you to understand that if a developer came in and wanted to put 30 or 35 single-family homes in there, we wouldn't be having the discussion.
Right.
They would just be able to build whatever homes. It wouldn't have to we wouldn't have this gentleman here to say, well, we want you to do this much more of a buffer and build this and build that so that it can be more aesthetic and more pleasing. We would lose that control. I just want you to know that's another aspect of looking at the project.
Okay, but I think the reality is that if it was developed in single-family homes, which is the present zoning, it would be much, much less than the 47 units. And there would be landscaping and spaces between the homes, unlike where there is now.
one of the things that I'm looking at here is Phase 2 says 10.95 acres, but that includes the strip across all the way back to the east, or to the west of the lake. How many acres is just the property that the apartments would be sitting on, that section? Do you have that number?
Yes, sir. The existing parcel that we own that's in phase 1 is approximately 4 to 4.5 acres. You add the 3.5, that gives you approximately 8 acres.
So that's 3.5 acres on the Phase 2 lot? Where it, just
3.5
where
on the
that,
front?
what we have on the screen there
Yes.
is approximately 3 acres?
No, that's approximately 8 acres.
Approximately 8 acres.
We own that little bottom piece there that is approximately 4 to 4.5 acres, yes. That's currently in the PUD.
Okay,
We're acquiring the church property at 3.5 acres.
so it's approximately 8 acres for the total. So you're looking at putting 47 residents on 8 acres.
And that is going to be combined in the total PUD.
Thank you.
Does that clarify that point?
Mr. Hauser, are you?
Yes, thank you, I'm sorry. I'm still
right.
thinking.
Mr. Parrott, thank you.
Sure. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And would you like to come up? Okay, please do. And for the record, please state your name and address.
My name is Charles Beiersdorfer. I live at 10437 Pippin Road. I also own the property at 10449 Pippin Road.
Can you spell your last name, please? Sorry.
Beyersdoerfer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's all right.
No, you're good.
Okay, I live directly south of this project, okay? I've been there for 35 years. I bought the property because it was secluded, nice, away from everything. I was in Colerain Township, yet I had seclusion, okay? We had to my south, I had Lake Gloria, back when it was Lake Gloria, and the church has always been there. That's not a problem, okay? Because the church is on Sunday, sometimes during the week, not much traffic. Since they put the new project in, New Redwood Homes project, there's been an increase in traffic. I have a hard time getting in and out of my driveway now. You used to, no problem, except when Northwest let in and out. So the point are traffic concerns. It is going to increase traffic. You have to. You're putting 47 houses next door to me, and you have 2 people living in a house, and they each have a car. Well, you can do the math. That's a lot of cars, you know, to come in and out and park. So I'm concerned about that. I mentioned this before here, the sewage issue. If they bring in sanitary sewer to that site, and I'm adjacent to that, I've had a lot of situations where the people have had to, my fiance's mother just had to do it. Once they put sanitary, they have a year to tap into it. Now, I'm right next to that. I have 2 houses that are on septic, so I would have to tie into that sanitary possibly. At my cost, they're building a nice development, but I'm going to be penalized when it comes time to put in sanitary sewer, which is really a costly event. The sidewalks, he had mentioned sidewalks. Well, the sidewalks would go down next to my property, but they wouldn't continue to Struble Road. So the sidewalks are going to end, they can't continue. There's an easement on my property for the right-of-way, I understand that. So they could be continued, but who would have to pay for that? Would Colerain Township come to me and say, now you got to put sidewalks in front of your property because there's sidewalks all the way down Pippin Road? Which again would be a cost to me for them developing a nice project, okay? The density. Mr. Peters mentioned that there are a lot of smaller lots nearby. Well, that's true, but I purchased it to have a bigger lot. It is my right. My right in Ohio is to enjoy my land quietly. That's my right. Look it up in your ordinances, okay? Now it's coming to this where everything is being sold off. People across the street have half-acre lots, but you're saying that it should be a smaller lot, that you could put a house on 7,500 square feet. Would you want a house on 7,500 square feet? Would you? I mean, you wouldn't.
I think, Chuck, not to interrupt you, in answering your question, I personally wouldn't.
Correct.
But on an affordability of home issue, there's probably a lot of people that would, just for the sake of argument, again, that would be something that we couldn't control because it was already there committed on that issue. That's the only reason why I bring it up is to always look at in cases like this, what are the other issues that could be, uses that property can be used for without a consent? So that might be worse than, a senior living 47 more units. I'm not sure yet, but you asked the question, that's probably the best answer I can give you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wander. Let's see, sidewalk. Devaluation of my property. What's it gonna do to my property values? Once this is next door for someone coming to buy a house, if I'm on two houses on nice secluded lots, I got an acre each, but then they have this right alongside my property. If you look how close the backs of those buildings are gonna be to the property line, that's really close, okay? And since I'm not used to that setting, and I bought my property in Colerain Township for that nice privacy, nice seclusion, and now that's gonna be taken away from me by this complex. What privacy am I gonna have? Those bushes will take, any small trees, I know for a fact will take a while to grow. A privacy fence I would rather have there to protect my privacy and allow me to quietly enjoy my property. Okay?
Can I go one by one before I forget?
Sure.
Not playing devil's advocate or anything, but
Mr. Wander, could you make sure your microphone's on?
oh, maybe it's not. I'm sorry. I think he's already extended the olive branch, I'll say, to help with privacy issues in any way. They agreed to help the woman on phase 1, and I'm sure on phase 2, if you wanted a privacy fence versus additional greenery, I'm sure they would be more than happy to entertain that for you.
Oh, that's something,
I also just wanted to ask you one other question. As far as the sidewalks, I think that's a very valid point. I don't like when sidewalks just end and go nowhere, and then you're walking on, kids to school and whatnot. So I would like to know how many more feet, because I'm not good at judging that. Maybe we can work out a deal to extend the sidewalks all the way up to Struble. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea, especially with the traffic in that area. So I just,
my two properties are 100 foot across. That's 200 foot at least. Then going up to
not a
Marist.
lot. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Like I said, evaluation of my property. If I want to sell my houses and move out of Colerain Township now because I've got that next to me, which I'm not used to, okay? And granted, that's my choice. But people are coming to look at my house, they're going to drive down the driveway and they're going to go, oh, well, this is nice, but that's there. That's a possibility. I'm just saying. There's things that I have to look at because I live there now. It interferes with the quiet enjoyment of my property, which is, once again, that's Ohio. It's Ohio code. I'll be subject to more trespassers possibly. I've had that problem. I've called the police several times on people cutting through my property from different directions. Because on that property there, I have 492 foot of side yard. That's going to be adjacent to that. Whereas if you can bring up that screen where it showed the property next, I know there's a banner in the middle of it. Nope, keep going. You had a big, broader picture that which showed there. Well, there we go back. That one there. If you see where it says attached family dwelling, okay, and you go up just a little bit in the picture, you can see I've got a nice pool in my backyard. I've got nice seclusion. I've got greenery all the way around my yard. But they're going to take it off on the north side because my property line is literally right there. There's a house adjacent. The roof line, you can actually see, you'll see a gray blotch in it, right where it says multi, right there. That's a roof line. And you can see the roof line where the building stops. That's the property line. There's no side yard. That was built in 1928, so I didn't build it, okay? But right there is where the property starts and stops. That's going to be like hard to take, to be honest with you. Let's see. The north side of the development had a chain link fence existing because of Northwest High School and the residences up there. They left that. That's why I asked them, are they going to put any kind of fencing along my property line to keep people from just deciding to go? Granted, it's an elderly community, right? Over 55 plus. But if their grandkids are there and the grandkids want to go to Maristop, they're going to take the shortest route, which is going to be through my property. I've already had it happen, okay?
So for phase one, there's residents that have grandkids?
Please?
And the grandkids
They
are,
would have grandkids visiting them is what I'm saying. And they decide they want to go to the store, grandparents will let them go to the store.
so you already have that happening?
Yes,
Where
I've filed
their
police.
visitors
I filed
are
police
walking through
reports
your
on it.
property?
Yes, ma'am. I filed a police report. One guy was arrested for it. He was warned and then arrested.
One of their residents?
No. One cutting through that area. Don't know where he came from, but if you see the property, imagine that complex next there, gone. There's a church there, and then that whole back wooded area is a coyote haven. That's where the coyotes live currently. And last thing, shouldn't this be considered a separate zoning than the first zoning, not a combined zoning? That's why we're having a hearing, correct? To change the zoning on the church. So it's a different zoning than the original. So it's being changed, and that's what I'm asking not to happen. Okay? And that's as a Colerain Township resident for 35 years. Thank you.
Hold on, Chuck. You asked the questions, I got a couple more answers for you.
You always do.
Well, I like to be prepared when, because I'm concerned just like you. One of your concerns that you raised last time, and then I did a little research for you, was that you're on septic.
Correct.
And there's currently sewerage systems on Struble and on Pippin.
Correct.
So
Well,
evidently-
it's on Pippin, north of me.
Right. But when they come down to the back side, I would say that you're probably still going to be more than the 200 feet requirement before they would, quote, force you.
No, I'll be under that.
You'll be under it?
That first house, that gray line that we mentioned before, that's a house right in the backyard of that building.
So how far is your foundation from Struble or Pippin Road?
From Pippin, I'm about 250 feet back, 225 on one, 250 on the other.
Okay?
Okay? But what I'm saying is the sewer would be inside those buildings.
No,
And
but
would
it goes from the line. It would go from, if this was all approved, and MSD has to do studies, and this is just a preliminary thing, but they would run down the, quote, center of the road to service both sections, and you would have to be within 200 feet before they could technically make you do it.
Correct.
And then unless you have a real old sand filter system, if you have a sand filter system, they give you 2 years to connect. It's not a year. And if you don't have a sand filter system, any other system, you have 5 years to connect. I just wanted you to know how much time you would have if you were within 200 feet of
Okay.
where the line is. Because that was a question and a concern of yours, and it's a
Correct.
valid concern. Nobody wants to force people to do anything. But of course, that is something that would be an uncontrollable, because that's Hamilton County that takes care of that,
Correct.
as far as the health department goes. So you had mentioned that somebody was forced to do something within a year. The shortest term is 90 days for an inoperable system if a new system is put in and there's access.
I understand.
It's cheaper to tap in than to build a whole new system for septic.
One of my houses, I had to put a whole new system in already, so,
Yeah.
I hate to waste that money, so to speak.
But I just wanted you to have the answers to some of the questions that you raised at the last meeting, and then,
Right, yes, sir. I appreciate your due diligence.
thanks.
All right, thank you.
I don't want him to yell at me again for walking away.
Are you good? Is he free?
I don't have any more questions for Chuck, but I like to give you the answers, because, that's what we're here for, is to have a discussion and have ideas.
Hi. So for the record, if you could state your name and address, please.
Karen James, 10486 Pippin Road.
Can you do your address one more time?
10486 Pippin Road,
How do you spell your first name?
Taryn.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, back in 2020, I actually came to the hearing because of the sewer issues. We've had sewer issues before Redwood came, and they've gotten worse. MSD, this is my husband, Troy James, bad storms, the sewer system is overwhelmed. And to the point where we have sewage in our basement, in our yard, the manholes, water just comes up and spills out with sewage. And I have a question about, is this going to be a senior? Because the other ones aren't senior. I was wondering why nobody corrected them. Right. I know it's not 55 and older. There are 24-year-olds living over there. There are 30-year-olds. There are 35-year-olds, kids. It's not a senior community. Our concern is the traffic. Traffic is always backed up. The sidewalk, are they planning on the elevation now? The church sits up on a hill from where I live. They would have to dig that out to even put a sidewalk. And whose property are they taking to have room for the sidewalk? I'm across the street, but it's so narrow right there. I guess they would take their own land?
Mm-hmm.
And is there going to be a turning lane, like for the first phase?
That's under the purview of Hamilton County engineers.
Okay. And accidents, safety-wise, which one of the other men were speaking about. We've been in accidents at the end of our driveway, serious accidents, back messed up, leg messed up. People don't pay attention. The kids, my son has been hit trying to walk to school because there is no sidewalk. He's been hit. And the road is very narrow because the trees right across from our house are falling off the hill. Like every bad storm, do we not have branches and parts of your trees in our yard?
Would you mind pointing out where on the map?
Directly across from it.
From,
All of that is ours.
Okay.
okay.
And we've had to call the police how many times? I don't even know.
People have been arrested in the yard, arrested in our backyard.
People have been in our yard. They would cut through the church. They would come down on the side by his house and sneak around back.
Ms. James, I hate to interrupt, but we're taking record. Can you guys just talk one at a time? Like,
Oh, sorry.
you say what
Okay.
you want to, and then he does. Thanks.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
But the crime is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Like I said, we've had Colerain out there. We've had the sheriffs out there multiple times. So bringing more occupants in is going to make it even worse. But the main thing, sewer, overflow. And this is going to take our privacy, all the homeowners, because right now we have just a church that's there for voting some Sundays, which I don't even know if they do church on Sundays anymore. And we had a big concern because they were doing other stuff over at the church. It's just going to be a mess.
Have you filed a complaint with MSD
Oh, yes, since
multiple
06.
times?
They're out there
I don't know if
multiple
that's
times since
something the township can
2006.
address with MSD.
No, that's a matter between them and MSD, and then if that doesn't get resolved, it would be a private civil matter between the parties, the landowners. But it's not a township matter.
The creek needs to be completely dug out and concreted, like behind the houses north of us. They have concrete. Ours is just mud, trees, debris, so it dams up and then it flushes out and it just wipes everything out.
I am sorry you're going through that, and we do hate to hear that. It's just not something the township is really in our purview. So it's not something we can really regulate.
Right.
I'm sorry to hear that.
The storm water overflows the sewage, which goes into the manholes, and it's just a mess. So bringing on, that's the same issue I had with the other phase one. It's gonna bring more on us, which we're homeowners, we're not renters.
Well, the problem that you're having more is not a sewer problem, it's a storm water problem. You know you're getting sewage in that, but it's more, that lake is a flood control lake. That is one of the reasons why I believe in 2020, when they first came for that first phase, that they wouldn't allow them to take the lake out. Because that is under the Corps of Engineers purview.
The
You
field
have
next.
something to add to that?
Yeah, I actually met with OEPA, and that lake can be drained. It was under the control of ODNR. They came out, measured it. They've been in control since it was built, I think in the 50s, 1950. But they relinquished control to us because it doesn't meet their statutory requirements for controlling it.
Okay, so I'll stand corrected on that.
To keep it there for the aesthetics and the stormwater opportunity there. It's massive, so it's really good for.
And I do understand that that's spring fed?
No, that has a drainage plane.
It does,
up.
okay.
It used to go to Rumpke before 275 was.
Okay.
My name's Troy James, stay the same at 10486 Pippin. We've addressed MSD multiple times. They've come out, they put meters, because we've got elevated manholes, 2 in the neighbor's yard and 1 in ours. And then they've had, the lid is jumping, raw sewage is in the yard. They put meters in, they've measured it, they come out, they keep doing it, the basement's flooded, they come, same thing, they come out, set up everything, dry the basement out, clean it up. All they keep saying is record it, keep recording it, keep recording it. We've talked to MSD, we've talked to Water and Soil, we've talked to the storm runoff, Muhammad down at Cincinnati. Several different people come out, made the same statements. Redwood is going to be an underlying issue. This is before they were even done, when they poured the first floor under Pippin for the storm runoff, for the retention and detention, as they called it, up there for the storm runoff. He said this is going to increase your problems that you already have. And behind us, that's private property, but he's broken all the partials up. So one thing is a civil issue, once again, we can't, but by law, he's supposed to keep waterways free, everything moving, maintain it. But through that path, which ties into Menominee, Struble, off of Fulborn, off of Struble further up, everything ties into this one branch. Then you have Redwood, and then you have everything coming from behind there, all tying into the same runoff. So all this is just a path nature made. Then you had these elevated, and there's another one right next to tri-state foliage that's elevated, same thing. Lids jumping off of that. Every time it rains like that, all these come up. We've got videos, we've got pictures, everything of raw sewage coming out of the lids. Down corner of Struble and Pippin, same thing. He's had raw sewage coming out of his. We're all tied into the same system, which is a small, outdated. Everything is the infrastructure, the whole thing wasn't designed to handle all of the stuff that we're putting into it now. So we're getting, like he said, if he wants to sell his property, who wants to live somewhere in a floodplain, raw sewage, ungodly amount of people, cars, traffic, every day, all day. Now we're gonna add another 40-some units to deal with people coming in and out of the same entrance that we can't already, how many accidents, and I'm sure y'all done the statistics of it, Pippin and Springdale, Pippin and Struble, how many accidents have happened there? Now you're gonna add more people coming in and out. Same thing, we can't get in and out of our driveway. We have to go a whole nother direction and come back around just to go to Struble Road because everything going south on Pippin is backed up from Springdale past, past us. We keep going back and forth, but nobody has any answers. We can't do anything. We've got land we can't use. We have erosion issues. We get stuff washed out often. And the township doesn't want to play a part in it. The county doesn't want to play a part in it. Hamilton County engineers, they've all been out, they've all looked at it, and they've come back to the same thing. It's become a overwhelming issue of all the things tied into the same area. Not just the storm runoff, just the traffic and the sewage. And you're adding more people into the same pot. And like he said, we wanted privacy. That was the whole thing. If you look, we've got trees and bushes and privacy fences, everything, for that reason, because we don't want to look at everybody else. Everything's lit up out there. All the houses have lights on, everything's lit up. People are coming and going. Now you're going to add it again directly across from us. Just like with him, that's in his yard. At least we have a little buffer with the street. That's in his yard. I understand not everybody wants to live in a open area. This is easily maintained. You don't have to cut your grass. You don't have to, you know what I mean? You have everything. I understand that part of living there, but they're rental units for one. We live there. We're not going anywhere. These people are coming and going. They're on leases. Some of them are even month to month after a certain point, or even you have 6-month lease. You have short-term leases. So a lot of these people don't have intention to stay in. I understand that, but we live there. We have flooding issues. We have water issues. We have traffic issues. Nobody wants to address that. But yet, y'all want to dig in your pockets, and he's digging in their pockets to line your pockets because it's not helping us. We're losing. Taxes are through the roof. It's ridiculous what we pay in property taxes for what we have, and we get nothing for it. We still have to pay for garbage, still pay for water. We have no county services. We have nobody picking up brush or leaves or anything like that. So, short of us living and we got a terrible school district. I'm just saying, as far as Mount Healthy, we're in Mount Healthy School District. So that's even worse. So we're in a failing school district. We're paying all these taxes, and nobody wants to address any of our issues. Nobody cares. Just want to keep adding to a problem. Now, like you said, how much traffic? They're not widening the street. They're not adding turning lanes. They're not even talking about it. When they did a traffic study for the last time, it was during COVID. School was out. People weren't working. It's getting frustrating because you're kind of a crabs in a barrel thing. You're putting everybody together. And as you know, everybody's coming from the city, coming this way. Why do we want to put everybody on top of each other? And you're saying running the risk of having 50 people or 50 single-family homes. That's not going to happen. And most developers that come to build would at least try and give you a little room, even duplexes. But 47 units on top of another 100 and some units, the traffic we already deal with, it's ridiculous. And like I said, it goes right back to sewage. You're tying into this system. I've been there with them every time. You're dealing with probably a 16-inch hole that's feeding everybody. Everybody from in the surrounding area is tied into that same one. And it snakes through there, it dog legs, and it all rolls back. Just like all next to us. All of that is, it's like a bowl. And there's nothing we could do. And then you don't want to address it, but then you want to keep taxing us on things that aren't corrected. And there's nothing we could do about it. Move? Like you said, move out of the township? We moved to the township. So it's the whole point of it. You want to bring people here, but then at the same time, you're running people out that have been here. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Okay.
I'd just like to address the fact that MSD is supposed to be, and supposed to, for the last 40 years that I've been active in things, taking care of the sewerage interconnects so that these overflow problems don't put raw sewage into people's homes. And I will tell you, if you're having an issue up there that's caused upstream from the interconnects, you know, we're here looking at the development of the property one way or the other. Something's going to happen there probably. But I think this might be an issue that we can take up with MSD to look at what the situation is. And they have to do a complete and comprehensive study on these issues and present it to the township if we approve this project. So it's not a final stamp of approval. It's like now everybody has to put their money together and do the studies. Because I would rest assured that if MSD says it's going to do more overload, I would trust that our township trustees aren't going to approve the final project.
Well, multiple MSD employees and managers that have talked to me have said it's a volume issue. It's nothing we could do other. His option was for us to take some of our land and build basically a sump pump, in a sense, of a well of waste, and then once it drains, it pumps back out into the existing system. But that's something we would have to donate land, and then we would have to have this, thing on our property for something that they don't want to deal with or correct. That was what was offered to us. And then, like I said, they keep coming out and checking it. It's been documented over and over again. They keep saying, just keep calling, keep calling. But who wants to, like I said, we can't do anything with it. And like I said, inside of the house, you've got health issues because we've got raw sewage in the basement. And I'm not just talking about in the floor drain, I'm talking about in the actual tub. It's coming in. And then you go outside, you've got tissue, you've got poop, you've got stuff in the yard. You can see it coming out of the weep holes on the elevated manholes. And that's another 8 to 10 feet down to the actual sewer line that's coming up and coming out. And this is coming from MSD when they said it is overwhelming the system. The volume of waste is not, infrastructure was not set up for this. And you're tying into it over and over again. I mean, that's just what I was told. This is what they said to me. This is not something that I pulled out of my hat. This is what they told me. Just like over behind us. That needs to be dug out. Like she said, it's a concrete culvert all the way behind the other subdivision, back up towards Mary Way and through behind there. They have flooding issues, all behind there. Gloria, all of that. They have flooding issues from the same thing. It all ties into that same part that runs back to the Mill Creek. And nobody, since it's all private property, there's nothing we can do about it, except deal with the homeowner behind us and have him address it. And we've had conversations over the last 15, 20 years about it. And every year it's, I'll get to it. And he made the engineers came out and had him change his driveway and put a bigger drain tile in because it was washing out and was getting crushed by the trucks coming and going. So that's a whole nother issue.
So, Mr. Peters, would it be okay if you take their contact information and perhaps give them some of the trustees' contact information?
Sure.
Maybe even Senator Blessing, some others that could reach out to him and maybe try to come together and help him a bit.
Yep, I'll be here after the meeting, so.
Okay.
I think it's very important because there's nothing worse than getting raw sewage in your home. When I was on city council in North College Hill back in the 80s and early 90s, we had a lot of those issues with interconnects. We had a lot of run-ins with MSD because their engineering says to do one thing and our engineers would say to do another. And I know we don't control that per se, but I think we could put some pressure on them in doing the study. If
On
there's,
MSD?
yeah.
That used to come out to the house from here. Dan, he used to be on the committee?
Oh, Dan Unger is one of the trustees?
Yes, that's it.
He's one of
He's
the
been out to our
trustees, yeah.
house 3 times, trying to get his help, and
So
basically said the same thing.
after the meeting, we'll get your information and we'll have someone from the township call and kind of help you navigate maybe who to call to solve your problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I have a question for him. Would that be dug out, how the church is elevated now on a hill?
Well,
Would all of that be dug out?
So there was a plan, it was going to be a grant that was going to add sidewalks all the way to Struble. They ran out of funding for that particular grant, but in that, there was a dig out of the hill and a retaining wall. So I'm assuming that the engineers would probably have that same finding. But again, that's an assumption.
These new homes, they would sit elevated, like higher up, like the church? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there anyone else who wished to speak?
I say one more thing, please?
Go ahead.
I moved in
Can-
91.
wait.
This is
Wait till you get to the microphone, please. We want to make sure that it picks up on you.
Sorry. When I moved in 91, nice, it was great, okay? Side of my yard was just a little stream, 6 inches wide. When it rained really hard, it would get to maybe a foot deep, and then it would just be gone. Okay, when they put that subdivision in on Springwood, on the other side of Struble Road, all those houses, that destroyed my yard. I came to Colerain, and I said, I got problems. No one would help me. I had Metropolitan Sewer District, the same problem they're having. Can't do anything with you. Corps of Engineers came out, can't do anything. Soil and Water Management, couldn't do anything. It literally ate my yard. I got pictures in my yard where it ate away, 6 foot deep, undermined my pool, undermined my deck. But once again, he's having the same problem with water. It's got to go somewhere. That when you change that lay, that could throw more water on my property. If they're keeping that elevation the way it is, you got a lot of hard surface, got a lot of hard surface water coming off. It's got to go somewhere. It's either going to go to their house or go to my house.
Thank you.
I'll address a couple of things. I can't drain in any direction that's not happening now. The county engineer has to analyze our studies, agree with them. We're going to drain to our lake. So we got that part handled. As far as being neighbors with Mr. Beiersdorfer, right now there's a 40-foot camper that's been abandoned there since before we bought Phase 1 in 2020. There's abandoned Goodwill boxes there. That all gets cleaned up. If you go through our community, you don't see anything outside the garages, except for a few visitors, maybe parking in a few spots. We run a tight ship. As far as having people cut through properties to get to the lake, that'll be eliminated with us. We'll be policed every day with our on-site staff. So those things can improve the neighborhood. About sidewalks, one says doesn't want a sidewalk, the other one says it'd be nice if the kids had a sidewalk. So the plan is to put a sidewalk there. The township TIF'd our Phase 1 so they can afford some of the improvements that were made all the way up Pippin Road to Northwest High School. That can be done here as well. And I'm a developer. I believe in what I do. I think we're making the neighborhood better. That's my position. I wanted to put that on record. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this will be the last double speaker.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Given the sewage problems, given the traffic problems, if you approve this at this point, I'm afraid it's just going to go on through. And if knowing these problems, why would you approve it? Please, think of the existing residents here. I've been in the community for 35 years. Mr. Barsdorfer has too. And there are problems here. And I hope that you will consider those and consider the citizens and the problems they're having whenever you make your decision. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Again, I just one comment. The ultimate decision on the thing, regardless of what we do tonight, is going to remain with the trustees. And I believe that the best way maybe we can help out the sewage problem and stuff is to dig our heels in with those studies with MSD, to alleviate the runoff concerns and check the interconnects, which are dumping raw sewage into the stormwater system. So, I think it could be a benefit. Maybe it helps out and the trustees vote the project down, regardless of what we do. That's all I have.
And Mr. Peters, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do we know from the proposed driveway approximately how far that is to the Pippin Road Struble connection?
I'm estimating from what I'm hearing tonight, between 200 and 300 feet. It's more than that.
It's 2 residential lots. The corner is,
Okay.
which is probably 100.
And how many feet are each of your lots?
My lots are 200 feet each, 200 foot total.
So-
From my property to Struble line, probably talking another 100 foot
So 300 to 400.
from my driveway.
Are you going to be using the existing curb cut? The existing? You're moving it north.
Ms. McMullen, did you have another question for me?
No, I was just trying to wrap my brain around how close to the intersection we would have the driveway.
Okay. Yeah, can I reiterate, the Hamilton County and any agency that's in charge of sewer or water will be reviewing those, and they have standards they have to approve them by. They're really not in the purview of zoning here. There are it sounds like there are some legitimate issues. They're not caused with this parcel. So I think we should stick to this parcel and the plan that's placed upon it and what we're allowed to review. And I would strongly advise we don't make a condition that they have to sidewalk down to Struble, because it could be seen as arbitrary and capricious, given that they don't have any property at Struble or across the street from Struble that they're connecting to. I think that's a little bit over the line.
So for the connection between phase 1, phase 2,
That, since they're connecting their two phases, I think we have some justification there. But to make them randomly go south where they have no property, then have the developer have that responsibility, it's a little over the line of what we're typically allowed to do.
right, I would agree with that because I know his property has kind of a drop off as well, so it's not just a simple
Yeah.
lay some concrete down as well.
I wish they would, but I don't think we could make them.
All right, so at this time, we need a motion to close the public hearing, please.
All motion to close the public hearing. CZC-26-1 and CZC-26-2.
I'll second that. Second that, please.
Thank you. And can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wander,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. All right, so gentlemen, that brings us to a motion. Is there anyone who would like to entertain a motion? Okay, I will make a motion for approval of the requested zoning map amendment and approval of the planned district preliminary and final development plan, subject to the 4 conditions for staff. I would like to make an additional condition that they do extend the sidewalk to connect Phase 1 and Phase 2. Condition number 6 I would like to add is a privacy buffer in the way of a privacy fence for the adjacent neighbor as well,
You mean the adjacent neighbor to the south?
to the south, yes. I believe that address is the 10437 Pippin. Is that your address? Okay. And while I'm making motions, I just want to check in with the other commissioners to see if anyone had a condition that they would like to have me include.
I don't know if it has to do with the zoning or not, if we can. Whose responsibility would it then fall under to connect the sidewalk all the way up, David?
That road is owned by Hamilton County. The right-of-way is owned by Hamilton County, so it would be Hamilton County. There was, as Ms. McMullen alluded to, Safe Routes to School grant. So I imagine there will be more of those that roll out in the future, and that would be an excellent candidate for that. So that would be it would either be a Hamilton County initiated sidewalk project or a grant. Or the property owner can put sidewalk across their property.
Okay, so hearing no additional conditions, correct? Okay, so I have the motion to approve as laid out in the staff recommendation with the 4 conditions that were proposed. Condition number 5, to extend the sidewalk connecting Phase 1 to Phase 2. And condition number 6, for the privacy buffer to include a privacy fence for the adjacent neighbor to the south. And can I have a second, if anyone?
I'll second it.
All right, Ms. Klein?
Mr. Hauser,
Yes.
Mr. Wander,
Yes.
Mr. Westfall,
Yes.
Mr. Wilson,
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes. So the motion carries.
Okay, we have a few more items on our agenda. If you want to go, you can, or you can stay.
Okay, so that brings us to topic number 8 on our agenda, informal concept review. We have none, no old business, no new business, and that brings us to administrative matters.
Yes, we have 4 now. So the first one, we are requesting that you initiate a text amendment to the site development standards found in table 4.2.2A. These over time just adjust to better reflect best practices across the region in planning. These are the things like setbacks, building height. We don't have any real dramatic changes, but we just wanted the chance to analyze it and make sure that it's working for the development that we have in the pipeline.
All right. So for that, you need us to make a request to initiate, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I'll make that motion. Make a motion to initiate a text amendment to table 4.2.2-A
I'll second.
Thank you. And if we can have a roll call?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next one is initiation of a text amendment to create a new zoning district, which we've not done since we adopted our new zoning resolution. Currently, our residential zoning districts are working pretty well. Commercial, on the other hand, we basically have avenue mixed north, central, and south, and industrial and the landfill district. So where would you put a commercial district that is not on Colerain Avenue? It would have to be zone avenue mixed central, north or south, but it's not on Colerain Avenue. So it wouldn't make sense, for example, on Struble to drop a avenue mixed north, because they're not north and they're not avenue. So we were trying to think about how we could alleviate this problem. We have neighborhood business mixed, but that's specific to places like White Oak and Pippin and Adams, where we're looking at more of a form-based code type of downtown feel. So there are places that fall through the cracks between, and we need a zoning district to address that. This would mainly be potentially parts of Blue Rock, but Hamilton Avenue and Harrison Avenue would be the main places that these would be appropriate. Harrison right now is zone light industrial. There are some industrial uses down there, but there's also restaurants. There's also housing. We've had calls for housing in the last couple weeks. So the way that it's zoned isn't really working. So that's why we like to create this zone. Now, to be clear, this doesn't create any new, this doesn't rezone any properties right now. This is just creating the baseline zoning and the standards for it. And later map amendments would adjust the zoning map to rezone to this zone.
All right, so I will make a motion to initiate a text amendment to create a new zoning district titled Corridor Mixed CBM, and to incorporate the related provisions into the zoning resolution for further review and consideration.
I'll second that.
Thank you. And if we can have a roll call, please?
Mr. Hauser.
Yes.
Mr. Wander.
Yes.
Mr. Westfall.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Ms. McMullen.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Given our recent community meetings that we've had through Miami University, and thank you, by the way, for attending, and heavy caseloads, I was not able to get to the update regarding the bylaws revision. So that's something that we will be addressing next month. And I have one final administrative matter. The packets in front of you are quite thick. We feel guilty about the waste of paper that we've been doing. As a township and a department, we've tried to go paperless with applications successfully. Our file cabinets are not getting filled up anymore. They're not getting any emptier, but we're not adding to the problem. But we still notice areas in which we're using a lot of paper. And over 1,100 pages of paper are in front of the 5 of you for this meeting that you use for 2 hours and then generally hand back to us and ask us to recycle. So the township is considering getting a digital packet. So would hand each of you a tablet and have you review go through the packet on the tablet rather than on paper. So I wanted to know if there was any serious objection to that and get a feel for your thoughts on that. There's no motion needed, just any comments.
I have no objection. Do you guys?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Review it. That's the way I review it now anyway.
Yeah, we'll still email it to you.
Yep.
We used to deliver it to everyone's house, Mr. Wander, but we'll still email it to you.
We got a delivery. I went to
Oh, you
Mr.
did?
Wander's house.
Okay.
I miss the deliveries.
I know, and I miss going to your guys' houses, but it's much more efficient this way. So we will still email it to you, and we'll have the tablet ready on page 1 if the administration agrees to go that route. So
There is only one comment I'd like to make.
Sure.
Is on some of the big projects where you have some big blueprints.
Right.
I would recommend that those be delivered or us have access to those.
Yep.
Because looking at it on a computer, I like to see the whole picture versus just a little snapshot where it's so small, it's really hard to, yeah.
It takes a lot of getting used to, and I know that firsthand. Back in 2023, when we stopped delivering to the houses, or had the idea initially, we asked if there were bigger plans for something that was, extremely important to have big plans for.
Right.
We'll have them available for you in the office. We'll still require paper copies of those, and that won't change.
Good.
Even if technically, if you hit it here, you got an A-frame, pin it up there.
Yeah, I mean, there's some wiggle room depending on
We don't need
the
you,
necessity. If you feel you don't need one, we can definitely save the printer. Those are extremely expensive for developers to print too, right? I mean, yeah, so. Okay, that's all I have, Mr. McMillan. Thank you.
Thank you. And no announcements?
None.
Okay. Next meeting currently is scheduled for April 21st, 2026. So thank you to my fellow commissioners, staff, and everyone who is present tonight, and especially those who were brave enough to get up and speak. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.